Hi, I'm Christian Triola, author of The Missing Method for Guitar books. And in this week's Reading the Riff, we're going to take a look at the White Stripes tune, Seven Nation Army. So what Reading the Riff is all about is taking a familiar riff that you may have heard before and using it to learn how to read in different areas of the neck. So let's start things off in open position. Here we go. So the riff itself, you've probably heard a million times. It goes something like this. And then the drums come in. It's a very exciting song. It's a good song. And so what we have here, and the way I played it was actually the second position version. But if you want to do it in first position, here's what you need to know. First off, we're going to start on the note E. So the E that I chose to use here is the second fret on the fourth string. And so if you've used any method book at all, you're probably pretty familiar with that note. Then of course we have an eighth note right after that of the same pitch, so it's still an E. So we have dotted quarter note to start, 1 and 2 and. So that and of 2 is where the next note comes in. And then we have a rhythm that is used quite a bit. It's called a quarter note triplet. You hear it at the very beginning of Star Wars, you know, that kind of thing. So that da, 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 right at the beginning of that is a good way to remember the quarter note triplet sound. And of course, this tune uses that rhythm right in its first measure. So again, we start with that quarter note on the E, then we go to the E as an upstroke, and then into the quarter note triplet. So the notes of that triplet, we have a G, back to the E again, and then the open D. So we have two open strings there when playing it in this open position. So we have E, and then it continues on. So the second measure of the riff only has two notes in it. We have a C and a B. And of course those are both on string 5. They're both played as half notes. And so you have C at the 3rd fret, B at the 2nd fret. So altogether, here's how you would play Seven Nation Army in open position. So it's a nice, easy riff to play, and it's great review for those notes in that position of the neck. All right, so we're going to move up to second position. Now the reason I use second position as an example in this video is so that you can see that those open strings, I think, sound a little better when you play those notes at the 5th fret. So here we go. We have this E in the same place. But now when we go to the note G, we're going to the 5th fret of that 4th string instead of playing the open 3rd string. And then later when we go to the note D, same kind of idea, we're playing the 5th fret of the 5th string to get that D. So here's what it looks like in second position. So you can see all the other notes are the same. It's just those open strings are now 5th frets on the strings below. And for my hands, I just find that the easiest way to play it. Kind of gives you this nice spread of your fingers. And everything falls under your fingers nice and neatly. All right, so that's position 2. Let's move on to the next one. Now we're going to take it up to 7th position. Now 7th position, that means our first finger is going to be playing at the 7th fret. So to start off this riff, we're going to be on string number 5, fret number 7. And then we're going to go through all the same notes. In fact, it looks and feels exactly like it does in second position, but now we're playing all the notes on the last 2 strings. So our E to start, 7th fret, like I mentioned. When we go up to the G, it's 10th fret on the 5th string. Back to the 7, 10th fret on the 6th string for the D. And then the C, 8th fret, B, 7th fret. So here's everything in 7th position And you can hear playing it in different positions like that kind of gives it a little bit of a different vibe. Here, listen to this again, the second position, as opposed to coming up here to the seventh position. It sounds, I think, a little bit more like the recording when you bring it up the neck like that. Now, the actual recording was done using an effect that dropped the note an octave, so it's going to sound much lower than what we're doing. All right, so we're going to wrap things up with the 12th position version of this same riff. Now, it starts in 12th position, which is, of course, your first finger right at the 12th fret. But because of the nature of the riff, we actually have to go lower than that on the neck, and we end up in 7th position. So let's get started with this. We've got the first finger at the 12th fret, like I mentioned. Then the G is going to be at the 15th fret, which is that first single dot past the 12th fret on the last string. And then we go back to the 12th fret, of course, drop to 10, come down to the 8, and then finally end on the 7th. So here's that whole riff in 12th position. And of course, there's a few different ways you could finger that. You don't always have to use one finger all the way down, but I like doing it just because it keeps it simple and it sounds good. It works. Now, on the last page of the PDF, you'll find a version of the tune which has no tab, so it doesn't show you where to play it. You could play it in any of these spots. So once you get a feel for where these notes are in these different positions, I'd suggest using just that last page to test your reading skills. It's fairly easy because there's only a few notes in it, and it'll really help you learn where those notes are all over the neck. Now, for more on note reading, do check out the Missing Method for Guitar note reading series. In fact, I have book 1 sitting back here. And what it does is it takes you from the very basics of learning how to read notes all the way up to the 22nd fret. So by the time you're done with the series, you'll have read every single note on the guitar. So that's something you might want to check out. Also check out our future videos called Reading the Riff, where we'll go through other riffs and you'll learn how to read those as well. All right, I hope you enjoyed the video. So please do like and subscribe. I always appreciate that. And don't forget to join our mailing list. When you do that, you'll get the latest updates on the videos that are coming out, books that we're publishing, and anything else going on with the Missing Method for Guitar. I'll see you in the next video.